So what are we talking about?
Well, all right. About what? This is now 7, 8 years ago?
Like 8 or so years, yeah.
Yeah. Some news came out about our marriage and things that had been happening, and it really shook up our world, shook up our marriage, our family, everything.
Right. So what happened is we're talking about infidelity today.
Yes.
And what happened is about 8-ish years ago, it was brought to Matt's attention that I had been having an affair.
Actually,
it was brought to my attention.
Right. Yeah. Some friends of the family had come over, and I was sitting in the house we were living in at the time, and Brandy went out to say hi and see what was going on, and I was just kind of casually looking out the window, and I'm watching this conversation play out. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I saw your reaction, and I've only seen you react that way one other time.
That was when my dad died.
Yeah. Yeah. And I knew that. I just knew from the way that you reacted that something big and something very wrong had just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So these friends had come over to let me know that that my secret was out.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to confront you and let you know that, otherwise they would.
Right.
And which I just have shivers thinking about this. And it honestly, you and I've talked about this a lot, and I've shared this story with a lot of other people throughout the years. And you know, we've been through the work.
Yeah.
There are times when I share it, though, and it just, like right now, I just want to cry. Because the weight of it, the heaviness of it all, just recognizing in that moment when you hear those words, the cat is out of the bag, and understanding what that means, and just feeling your world just crash around you. Because what had been happening is for 3 years, I'd been living a lie. And I had built this very perfectly compartmentalized web of lies and destruction that was a house of cards, and it was bound to crumble at some point. But I really, for some idiotic reason, had it in my head that it
would be fine and it would stay secret and nobody would know. And
yeah, and it's weird too, because there was a part of me that thought, if God didn't, this is how messed up and twisted my thinking is.
All right.
If God didn't want me to be having this relationship, God would stop it. God would intercede. He would not allow us to see each other by one means or another. He would do something to prevent that from happening.
Right.
And instead of preventing it from happening, it just kept happening. And I was like, by year 3, I'm thinking, well, I guess we're made in the shade. And then it came crashing down.
Right.
And what occurred to me eventually is God doesn't want us to sin. He's told us in his word that he doesn't want us to commit adultery. Like, he shouldn't have to say that any more than he's already said that in Scripture 5,000 times.
Right.
You know, like, I shouldn't need to have a brick wall placed in front of me in order to not go through a dangerous place.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. God allows us choice for a reason. He gave us free will for a reason, and he doesn't take that away.
Right.
He still allows us to make bad choices.
Yes. And I made 3 years worth of bad choices.
Right.
And so I went inside, and our kids were home.
Right.
And they were little.
Yeah.
And I think we had those friends stay with the kids for a little bit while you and I talked.